Man, I'm excited to be back here, Brandon. High school hockey season just about ready to go.
Yeah, great to see you, Matt. I mean, we got an incredible season coming. It's always the best time of year, isn't it?
It is, and picture day, I mean, everybody's excited, so what do you say we go up and start filming the show?
Let's do it.
All right, let's go. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to season number 2 of Inside the Bubble here on Care 11 Plus. I'm Matt Harrington, joined as always by Brandon Spratt. And Brandon, we've got another season ready to get rolling. We're at beautiful Braemar Arena. It's picture day for the Edina girls hockey team, and I think we're all ready and excited for the season to get going.
Yeah, great to see you, Matt, as always. And like you said, a new season is upon us. The off season, it's so long, but yet goes so quickly. And then the season, of course, goes so quickly as well. But we have a lot of great shows this season. And we're going to kick it off tonight with the girls preview.
Yeah, girls preview for the season. We're going to go section by section, take a look at some of the new section alignments as well as some players to watch in each section.
We're going to get rolling on our section preview here, starting in Section 1AA, where we have some big changes in the sections right off the bat. We'll have a new section champ this year. Defending champion Lakeville North is in Section 3AA. We'll get to them later. New squads in this section, the Austin Packers up from 1A to 1AA. Mankato East, a single-A state tournament team, is into 1AA, which will be an interesting wrinkle there. And they will join Farmington, Lakeville South, Northfield, Owatonna, Rochester Century, John Marshall, the co-op of those two Rochester schools, and Rochester Mayo. Now we'll look at some of the top players in the section. Matt and I went through these. We tried to stick to a forward, a defender, and a goalie. There's a few wrinkles in a few different sections, but that'll be the general format. And we get to start with one of the top forwards in the state, senior Ayla Puppy out of Northfield. She's the leading returner in scoring across the whole state, 53 goals, 88 points, a University of Minnesota commit. She really carries the scoring for this team. Scored the only goal in a 1-0 shutout win over Benilde St. Margaret's last season, a really big win for this program, and has over 200 points in 4 varsity seasons. Her running mate is on the blue line, senior defender Grace McCoshin out of Northfield as well, 8 goals, 35 assists, and 43 points. She'll go to Ohio State, keeping it in the WCHA along the blue line. And she really excelled as well in the high school elite league. She even got to bump up and play forward on occasion as well, just showing that offensive dynamism in her game. But on the back end, a goaltender, this will be a key player if the Raiders are going to be stopped getting to the state tournament. It's Lakeville South's Claire Bronson, certainly going to be one of the finalists or a candidate for senior goalie of the year. Had a great year last year, 21 wins, goals against under 1.5, and a .933 save percentage. Lakeville South is seeking its first state trip since 2018. Northfield looking to return after a 1-year hiatus. They certainly have the senior group to do it, but it'll be a good section out of 1AA.
We'll move on to Section 2AA now, and as always, there's plenty of talent in this section that has been run by the Minnetonka Skippers, who are 5-time defending section champions, as they will bring back, of course, a lot of last year's team that went to the state tournament. We'll look at the section alignment now, and as you'll see, just one newcomer in the section. It is the Waconia Wildcats, who move up from Class 1A to 2AA. Here they were in Section 2 in Single A as well. Of course, the Eden Prairie Eagles will be trying to build upon a better season last year. Holy Family, the Fire, of course, got so close to their first state tournament appearance, blocked, of course, by the Skippers. And then, of course, you have Minnetonka, New Prague, Prior Lake, and Shakopee rounding out the rest of that section. So let's take a look at some of the players to watch here in Section 2AA. And we'll start at the forward position. It is junior Josie Lynn of Holy Family Catholic. And, of course, there are several talented players on the Fire team that are not returning. And Josie Lynn going to have an expanded role on this team. During her sophomore year, had a breakout year of 49 points last year for Josie Lynn, and you have to think it's only a matter of time before she commits to play Division I college hockey. So certainly going to be a player to watch in that section. On defense, it is Lauren Goldsworthy of Minnetonka, and of course the Minnesota State Mankato commit. Doesn't put up a ton of points as a blue liner, but extremely solid defensively and will be key for the Skippers here moving forward this year. And in goal, it is Layla Hemp of the Minnetonka Skippers, certainly one of the best goaltenders in the state. And she will be entering her junior season, just committed to the University of Minnesota a few seasons ago, had a .939 save percentage and a 1.07 goals against. And of course, they have Ashlyn Hazlitt, another very solid goaltender for the Skippers. So it's going to be a dynamic duo between the pipes for Minnetonka this season.
On to Section 3, AA now, and this section has the honor of being the only AA section with 2 state tournament teams from a year ago. I mentioned Lakeville North, they're moving into this section. They'll be joining the Rosemont Irish, who were in this section last season and made the state tournament. That's the only new addition to the section that also boasts Apple Valley, the Eagles. The Cretin-Durham Hall Raiders had their hearts broken in overtime in the section final last year, but they'll be back. And the Egan, Eastview, Hastings, Park of Cottage Grove, and then aforementioned Rosemont rounding out the section. Going into some players, and there's only one place to begin. It's up front with junior forward Michaela Moran of Apple Valley. 43 goals a season ago. Her sister Marie is now at St. Cloud State. Just one Moran on the roster this year, but Michaela Moran is a dynamic skater with a dynamic shot. Really tough to slow down when she gets a full head of steam, and she will be one to watch this season. There were a lot of choices in Section 3AA at forward, but it's the Mankato commit that we chose here. On defense, it will be a player from aforementioned Lakeville North now into this section after several years in 1AA for sure. Senior defender Ashley Wagenbach is one to watch. She's 5'11" with a big shot, also a very good stay-at-home defender. She's going to be tasked with shutting down some of the big forwards like Michaela Moran and Sophia Stramel, among others. She had 12 goals, 8 assists, and 20 points last season for Lakeville North. And then we have another goaltending duo that we'll look at out of this section. It's Lakeville North once again. They have a senior Addison Ottinger with state tournament experience. They have a freshman, Kaya Weiland, who also got some state tournament experience last year. They split the starts even, 15 apiece last year. Weiland as a middle schooler in 8th grade, but both produced outstanding results with goals against of 2.1 or better. It's going to be a stout back end for Lakeville North. They return a lot. They may be the early season favorites, but there's plenty of other good squads in 3AA.
Move on to Section 4AA now, and as like some of these other sections, the race for that first place finish in this section promises to be a fun one, as there is quite a few good teams in this section, as we'll get into the section alignment now. As you see on your screen, just the one change, it is St. Paul, Two Rivers, that co-op of the public high schools and St. Paul and Two Rivers. They move up from single A to AA, and so they will be the only new team in this section. But Eastridge, of course, and then Gentry Academy. How could we forget the defending state champion Stars, who had a terrific year last year? They do lose a lot of talent, though. 9 skaters from that team that won the state championship. And, of course, their head coach, Billy Hengen, moving on to St. Cloud State University as an assistant coach with the women's program there. Monique Annenson will take over as the head coach of the Stars for this season. Another team with a coaching change, it's the Hill Murray Pioneers, a great team last year. And how about this for co-head coaches? Chrissy Wendell Pohl and Johnny Pohl. What a storied career both of those individuals have had, and that is a talented Hill Murray team. They've got Chloe Barine, of course, a University of St. Thomas commit, who is going to be the leading returning scorer there. The Pioneers look all the part of a team that can get back to the state tournament for the first time since 2020. And then also rounding out the section, the Stillwater Ponies, very talented team offensively, defensively, that has a couple of college commits as well. They're trying to get back to the state tournament. And of course, the final 3 teams in that section, North Tartan, White Bear Lake, and Woodbury. So let's take a look at the players to watch in Section 4AA. And as we mentioned, tons of talent, so it was tough to narrow down who to pick here. But for forward, we're going to go with Josie St. Martin of the Stillwater Ponies. She scored 51 points last year in her junior season, committed to Ohio State University. Tremendous women's hockey program there at Ohio State. Certainly going to be among the Miss Hockey favorites entering this season. She's got experience at the USA Under-18 teams as well. A very talented forward for Stillwater. And we picked a couple of other forwards and defenders. It is the twin sisters, Lainey and Brooke Ganetz. Lainey Ganetz had 25 points as a freshman last season. And of course, her twin sister, Brooke Ganetz, 11 points as a freshman last year. They should be a dynamic duo on a Woodbury team that is hoping to have another solid year only lost 9 games last season. And in goal, no surprise here in this section, it is Grace Zahn of the Hill Murray Pioneers. Outstanding numbers last year with a .948 save percentage. That was among the best in the state, and a 1.23 goals against average. She is committed, of course, to Dartmouth for Division I hockey, and she is my preseason pick to win the Senior Goaltender of the Year award.
Halfway through the AA sections, we move on to Section 5. This section has been dominated by 2 programs. Maple Grove and Centennial have split the last 6 section titles, 3-3 apiece. One newcomer in the section this year is Roseville Montemedi. They're moving over from Section 4 AA. They will join Centennial Spring Lake Park, Champlain Park Coon Rapids, Maple Grove, Mounds View Irondale, Osseo Park Center, Rogers, and North Wright County. They could just call this the section of co-ops because there is quite a few of them. Let's move on to some of our players, though. We'll start up front, and there were a lot of options here, but I decided to go for a junior from Champlain Park, Coon Rapids, Lily McKenzie. She was their leading scorer a year ago with 16 goals, 25 assists, and 41 points. The Bluebirds, as they are known by, they lose some definite leaders on this team. They'll be younger this year, but definite talent on this team this season, and McKenzie is a very solid two-way center who leads the way for them. We also went with another youngster on the blue line. It is freshman defender Maddie Elfstrand out of Maple Grove. Her coach, Jim Coltis, said that her strength, skating, and vision are only continuing to get stronger. She played top 4 minutes as an 8th grader on varsity last season. We'll be looking for her to expand her game, and she'll be key for a Maple Grove team that also loses quite a bit to graduation. However, Maple Grove has arguably one of the best goaltenders in the state, senior Danny Strom, 14-5-1 with a 1.36 goals against and a matching .948 save percentage to match Grace Zahn of Hill Murray. She also is a USA U18 player, very athletic goaltender, very confident in her abilities. She will likely be one of the co-favorites for Senior Goaltender of the Year, and unlike Matt, Danny Strom will be my pick for Senior Goalie of the Year. So we'll draw the battle lines there, but it's a strong and deep Section 5 AA.
We move on to Section 6 AA on the girls' side, and wow, this has been a section that has been absolutely dominated by these Edina Hornets for almost a decade now. 9 straight titles here in Section 6 AA, and this is another solid Edina group that can absolutely get back to the state tournament once again. But of course, standing in their way, we'll go through the section alignment. We'll get to Benilde St. Margaret's in just a moment, but we'll go through the 2 newcomers in the section. First, it is the co-op of Bloomington Jefferson Kennedy, and they moved from 2AA to 6AA. And of course, Metro South, that is a program primarily made up of Burnsville, Faribault, and St. Paul Academy, among others. They moved from 3AA to 6AA. We'll start with those Red Knights, though. That's a really talented team that is going to be fun to watch this year. We'll get more into them in a minute. Edina, and then Hopkins Park, Armstrong, Cooper, and Wyzetta. The Blake Bears, they moved down to single A. But I mentioned the Benilde St. Margaret's Red Knights. They have Ellie Stewart, who had 30 points as a freshman last year. They've got multiple players who are committed to college. I said last year they were a year away from really competing. I think they've got a real chance to take down the Edina Hornets in this section. And really, Edina, though, they lose the legendary Uma Cornier, but still a couple of great goaltenders in Nora Hannon and Reese McConnell, and talent all around that Edina roster as well. We'll go into the players to watch now in this section. At forward, no surprises here. It is the senior out of Edina, Hannah Halverson, of course, committed to Wisconsin, one of the more talented forwards in the state, and a candidate for Ms. Hockey, certainly going to be a key leader on this Edina team. We have a forward and a defender switch between those two for Ella Pasqua of Benilde St. Margaret's. Quinnipiac commits and had 21 points as a sophomore last year, going to be a part of that Benilde St. Margaret's team, looking to get back to the state tournament for the first time in 10 years, 2014. And on defense, a true defender in Taylor Porthen of Edina, committed to UConn, of course, for next season for college hockey. Not a ton of points for her on the season, but overall an excellent defender and a possible Miss Hockey candidate. So far, it looks like Edina and Benilde St. Margaret's are the 2 big contenders. We'll see if the Red Knights have what it takes to get back to state, or if Edina continues their dominance of this section.
On to Section 7 AA now, where it has been the Andover Huskies who have been the dominant force for the last 6 seasons, winning 6 in a row. the last team in this section to win other than Andover was the Forest Lake Rangers. But another team who will think that they have a shot to knock off Andover this season is the Grand Rapids Greenway Lightning. They're led by forward Mercury Bischoff, 44 goals, 29 assists, and 73 points last season for Bischoff, who is a junior. She really is about as complete of an offensive forward as you will see in Minnesota high school hockey. The skating, the hands, and the vision that go together, her shot as well. She is committed to Mankato and has 234 points in 4 varsity seasons. Joining Grand Rapids is teams looking to knock off Andover. We will have Anoka, there will be Blaine, the Duluth Northern Stars, Elk River Zimmerman, aforementioned Forest Lake, and Northern Tier as well. Now we'll get into the Huskies a bit here, especially on defense. We had a few different ones we could have chosen. Really 3 defenders that would have been worthy of the one to watch, but I'll lean on the senior Kaylin Mumm out of Andover. She was the leading scorer on a loaded Huskies blue line a year ago. 6 goals, 26 assists, and 32 points. Really complete 200-foot game, and she also has that USA U18 international pedigree. She'll be going to St. Thomas for her college hockey with Coach Joel Johnson and his staff. And then the goaltender here in Section 7, it is Gretchen Pavarud out of Anoka, who had one of the most incredible performances of the season last year without a doubt. 89 saves on 91 shots in a 6 overtime, unfortunately loss in the section playoffs against Blaine in their first game back in February. But what an incredible performance for Pavarud. That one will live in the history books for a long time here, no doubt, in Minnesota girls high school hockey. And she has her senior season coming up. Can't wait to see what she's able to do for an encore.
We move on to the final section in girls AA. It is Section 8 AA. And just like the previous Section 7, there are no changes in this section. Of course, the Alexandria Cardinals, the Bemidji Lumberjacks, Brainerd Little Falls, Buffalo, Moorhead, who finally broke through and went to the state tournament last year. The Spuds bringing back a lot of good talent, including senior forward Taylor Bruschi, who is committed to play at Quinnipiac. Maybe a year ahead of schedule last year with the Spuds. They're going to be another fun team to watch this year. And of course, you got the Roseau Rams, who have a lot of young talent on that team. Sartell Sauk Rapids and St. Cloud rounding out the section alignment for Section 7 AA. We'll look at the players to watch rather for 8 AA, that is. We'll start at the forward position. It is Jasmine Havda of Roseau, and only a sophomore this year, but as a freshman, she put up 42 points in her freshman campaign. An elite player, was certainly among the better underclassmen players in the state. Likely going to be a big part of a Rams team that is looking to improve on a 17-11 record last year. Rams certainly are a threat to the Spuds in this section. And then on defense, it is Kate Kosabud of the Moorhead Spuds. She is committed to the University of Minnesota and certainly going to be on the watch list for Miss Hockey, one of the better defenders in the state. And finally, the goaltender position in this section, player to watch, it is Erica Folden of Brainerd Little Falls. The junior goaltender only played in 5 games last year for the Warriors, but her numbers were extremely impressive. .92 goals against average and a .944 save percentage. Even though it's a small sample size, very impressive, and she's going to get a lot more ice time this season. If she plays well, watch out for this Brainerd Little Falls team. And we're going to step aside here on Inside the Bubble. We are halfway through our preview as we've just finished AA. We'll come back to Single A right after this.
One new place, plus 2 of everything, plus 1 budget. Life math is complicated. Financial experts
Hi there.
make it easier. Affinity Plus. Getting a free streaming trial. Plus, forgetting to cancel it. Life math is complicated. Fewer overdraft fees make it easier. Learn more at affinityplus.org/betterthanfree.
back to Inside the Bubble here on Care 11 Plus. Well, this is, of course, an MN Hockey TV production, and we're very excited to announce some of the new changes that are coming to MN Hockey TV this year. Not only do we have some new teams coming onto the network, we've got an all-new viewer platform courtesy of our partners of Stay Live, and we're introducing the ability to have a monthly subscription instead of just the one-time package purchase, or you can do an annual pass as well. And we're really optimistic that that's going to be a huge factor for a lot of you that are trying to watch some of the best high school hockey out there, Brandon. I think right now the MN Hockey TV is about as good as it's gotten for all time.
Yeah, I know we were able to sort of trial run some of the Stay Live changes back in the spring with some section games, and we're getting really good feedback, and so we decided to kind of expand it, right? And certainly encouraged by the way things are going so far, and think it's going to be some positive changes here. We'll get the Class A preview started with Section 1. This will be a very good section this season. We have a couple of newcomers in Red Wing, who moves over from Section 4, and Simley as well, moving in from Section 4. The returners are the Albert Lee Wildcats, or Tigers, excuse me, the Dodge County Wildcats. There we go, we got that right. Waseca, Winona are the 6 teams rounding out the section. Albert Lee have won the last 2 section championships. Their only 2 state tournament appearances. Dodge County and Simley will be their leading pursuers this year. Neither team has ever made it to state. This is set up to be a very intriguing Section 1 in 2023-24. And we will actually spotlight a player from all 3 of those programs to get us started. We go up front first for freshman forward Maisie Cook from Dodge County. She was the leading scorer for the Wildcats addition last season as an 8th grader. 24 goals, second on the team, 32 assists, and her 56 points led the way overall. This is a very young Wildcats roster as well, and their ascendancy is kind of going hand in hand with Albert Lee. Both of those squads have a lot of young players, and exciting to see those teams locking up here again in Section 1. On defense, we have the leader of the Albert Lee Tigers, Mika Sykos, the defender from Albert Lee. She's a big defender, played in the high school elite league this year, and led Albert Lee in goals from the blue line last season. 31 goals, 12 assists, and 43 points on her ledger, and she's a Minnesota State University Mankato commit, leading, again, what is another young roster as they grow alongside of Dodge County. We have the newcomers to the section in the goaltending position that we will highlight here. It is junior Sydney Reese of Simley High School. 18-5-1 her record last year, 1.88 goals against, and a .916 save percentage. This Spartans team loses their 2 leading scorers from a year ago when they were very strong, but they bring back some of their depth scoring. They bring back a strong goaltender. Simley, again, projected to be a top 7 to 10 team this year, and the junior Reese is a big reason why. She's a big 5'10" goaltender, and she's already in her 4th varsity season as a junior. So she certainly is one of the leaders of this Spartan program in a relatively deep Section 1A.
We move on to Section 2A that features 2 newcomers, and that makes a very geographically obtuse section here, as it will be, of course, the Hutchinson Tigers returning, Litchfield, Dassel, Cokato, the Dragons, Mankato West, and Minnesota River, the 4 returners in the section, and 2 newcomers as well. River Lakes moves from Section 6A to 2A, and then, of course, you have the Wilmer Cardinals, who also come from Section 6A to Section 2A. So lots of changes in this section as the defending section champion Mankato East Cougars move out. Well, we'll look at the players to watch now in this section, and we'll start at the forward position. It is Sophia Hess of River Lakes, an elite scorer certainly, had nearly twice as many points as any other player on that River Lakes team that lost to Fergus Falls in the Section 6A championship a season ago. Of course, she's already hit the 100 career point mark for River Lakes, so an elite scorer to watch in this section. On defense, it is McKenna Larson of Wilmer, all Central Lakes Conference player a season ago, a really solid scoring defender and a strong shot, 14 goals, 14 assists for a total of 28 points last year. And in goal, it is Cadence Roski of River Lakes. Certainly she is the best goaltender in this section, as she had a .940 save percentage, playing in all but 5 games last season. She's going to join Minnesota State Mankato next year, joining, of course, Haley Hansen from Blaine, who started playing there this year. Very talented goaltender indeed. This section looks to be a two-horse race potentially between River Lakes, but do not sleep on the Wilmer Cardinals. They are a sleeper team that I think could win this section. Can't count out, of course, Hutchinson, Litchfield, Dassel, Cokato, Minnesota River, and Mankato West. But right now, the two teams to beat in this section are River Lakes and Wilmer.
Moving on now to Section 3A. This is a section that has been Laverne's for the last 4 seasons, coinciding with the legendary career of Cameron Van Batavia, who has now graduated. This section, though, will remain unchanged in terms of the contestants. It is Fairmont, Laverne, Marshall, New Ulm, Windham area, and Worthington. That's the 6 teams still in Section 3. However, Laverne, without Cameron Van Batavia, will still bring back some big scorers, including junior Peyton Bear, 17 goals, 32 assists, 49 points for the Cardinals last season. She considers herself a pass-first player, but we'll see if that maybe changes this year, as she maybe will be looked to take on more of the goal-scoring load. She's the leader of a young nucleus for the Cardinals that is also buoyed by some strong youth teams in recent seasons. One of those players is the younger sister of Cameron Van Batavia. That is 8th grader Ellison Van Batavia. She played on the varsity squad last year as a 7th grader and finished with double-digit goals with 10 and 33 points overall. So yes, the Van Batavia name is living on in Laverne. A player that will be tasked with stopping them is our goaltender of choice from Section 3A, junior Ava Brennan. Very impressive out of New Ulm. Her numbers really pop. 17, 9-1 the record, 1.49 goals against, and a .937 save percentage. She will be tasked with shutting down some of that Laverne firepower, and even as a junior, already 1,700 saves to her credit in her varsity career. Her head coach, Jeremy Reed, says Ava has great lateral movement, she challenges shooters, and has improved her rebound control. Ava Brennan will be looked to as a leader for New Ulm this season in a section that has had Laverne on top in recent years.
We go to Section 4 Single A now, and this is the section that has been most affected by section realignment. There's going to be 3 new teams and 3 departures in this section, as we'll start at the top alphabetically with the Academy of Holy Angels. They move from Section 5A to 4A. They get out of the section of Orono that, of course, beat them in the section final last year. And then, of course, the Blake Bears. They were in AA for quite a while, but they are moving back down to the single A level. Chisago Lakes has been a fun team to watch in recent years, along with Minneapolis, who also comes over from 5A with Holy Angels. And then the South St. Paul Packers, who, of course, have been a legendary program in girls high school hockey with Dave Palmquist at the head, and Visitation rounding out Section 4A. We'll look at the players to watch in this section, and we'll start at the forward position. It is Audrey Garton of the Academy of Holy Angels. We've talked about it a lot already, of Minnesota State Mankato commits. Add her to that list, and she's going to be a key focal piece with this offense. A really fundamentally sound and mature player is Audrey Garton. On defense, it is Lily Pockel of South St. Paul, who has been making a name for herself in girls high school hockey as of late. An elite player, was the top scoring defender in the state last season with 55 points, 24 goals, 31 assists. She just recently committed to Harvard University as well, and going to be among the best junior hockey players in the state. And then in goal, it is Janie McGaughan of the Blake Bears. This is a Blake team that loses a lot of talent, including Sam Brose and Susie Higuchi from last year's team. But they have a very solid goaltender in Janie McGaughan. She's just a sophomore this season. As a freshman last year, .939 save percentage. An elite underclass goaltender, could give Blake a chance in this very tough Section 4A.
On to Section 5, that will see one new team in this year. It will be Princeton Becker Big Lake, moving down from AA. They'll be in Section 5A, joining the likes of Breck, Delano Rockford, Mount West Tonka Southwest Christian, Orono, and Pine City. Orono, the 2-time defending section champions here in Section 5, and they will be looking to make it a 3-peat. At forward, a lot of talent to choose from for the Spartans, but we went with junior forward Zoe Lopez. 38 goals to lead the way for her Spartans last year and 51 total points. Honestly, for my money, the best forward I saw at the Class A state tournament back in the spring. A big power forward with a great shot, goes to the dirty areas to score goals. And stop us if you've heard this before. She's going to Minnesota State Mankato. At least that is her current commitment. On D, it is her running mate and the power play quarterback of the Orono Spartans, senior Grace Bickett. Maybe the best hands of a defender in the state. She's their power play general with 34 assists and 39 points last season. She actually led a loaded Spartans team in assists and impressively bounced back from a torn ACL her sophomore season. And then in goal, we will go with senior Kayla Simonson from Delano Rockford. The record, 12-13-1, not going to jump out, but it's beyond that. 2.02 goals against, 941 save percentage. This is a Delano Rockford team that plays a really tough schedule. They didn't score a ton of goals last year, but Simonson came to the rink every night and kept her team in the game. Saw her at the High School Elite League as well this fall, and incredibly athletic, maybe the most aggressive goaltender I've seen at this level. She was really fun to watch. Look out for Kayla Simonson and Delano Rockford.
The Section 6A, this is now the smallest section in the state with just 5 teams listed this season. It is Breckenridge, Wahpeton, and of course the defending section champs, Fergus Falls, and then Morris Benson area, Prairie Center, and Northern Lakes rounding out the list. Of course, Fergus Falls had a great year last year. The Otters made it back to state for the first time since 2019. They do lose their top 2 scorers, but with Wilmer and River Lakes moving out of this section, they are far and away the favorites here in this section. As we'll go to the players to watch in this section, we'll start out the forward position, and it is not somebody from Fergus Falls. It is Carly Bruns of Morris Benson area. The Storm probably aren't going to get a lot of attention around the state from various different media outlets, but it's important to note that Carly Bruns has been terrific for the Storm. She scored 42 goals last year as a junior and is certainly going to be another really good player in this section, one to keep an eye out that maybe isn't getting the attention that she deserves. We'll go on to defense, and it is Maggie Greenagle of the Fergus Falls Otters. She is just a freshman this year, but last year as an 8th grader, the defenseman had 2 goals and 12 assists. She is looking to be an important piece of this Fergus Falls team that tries to get back-to-back state tournament appearances. And then finally, in goal, it is Anna Jerkis of Fergus Falls. She set the school record last year for single-season save percentage at .932. Saw a lot of action. We're expecting the same from her. And she is the best goalie in the section and going to be a key piece for Fergus Falls. But once again, it's looking like it's Fergus Falls section this year in 6A.
Section 7 Single A takes us up Interstate 35 toward the North Shore and features the 2022 state champions, the Proctor Hermantown Mirage. They are joined in non-alphabetical order by Cloquet, Esco, Carlton, Rock Ridge, Hibbing, Chisholm, Duluth, Marshall, Moose Lake area, and the North Shore Storm. This is a section where Proctor Hermantown has won 3 straight section titles and 6 of the last 8, but they could get a stiff test from their Duluth area rivals, the Duluth Marshall Hilltoppers, led by senior forward Ilsa Lindemann, a University of St. Thomas commit with 46 goals and 76 points a year ago. She's a big forward with great hands, especially around the net, knows how to put the biscuit in the basket. On defense, we really could have gone with the whole blue line group of Proctor Hermantown. That's how good they are under Coach Emma Stauber, who of course is herself a defender. But we'll highlight senior Morgan LaValle. She is emblematic of how this program plays. A stay-at-home defender. I noted that as a Mirage specialty. She will lead one of the state's top defensive units, and she'll chip in a few points as well. 4 goals, 7 assists, 11 points a year ago. In goal, it is a junior Mallory Hartle out of Moose Lake for the Rebels of Moose Lake. I picked this player because of this program a year ago. We had a lot of Moose Lake games on the show. I noticed Mallory Hartle. She was making big saves. I think she's an under-the-radar player for a program with a solid year a year ago. The numbers back it up. 2.34 goals against, 932 save percentage. She went 13, 11, and 2, and she is the type of goaltender that can lead to a sneaky type of section run for Moose Lake.
It's the final section here of our preview, Section 8A on the girls' side. And of course, this section features the two-time defending state champions of girls Class A hockey, the Warlord Warriors. But this is a team that was hit hard by graduation, and they of course lose 10 seniors, including the incredible trio of Riley Bartz, Talia Hendrickson, and Kate Johnson. Still going to be a very good Warlord team, but likely going to be taking a step back. And that opens the door for a team that we had our eyes on last year, certainly the Crookston Pirates. And Crookston, this might be the year that they get to the state tournament. And last year they went 17-7-2, got blown out by Warlord in the section final, but really having prime opportunity, losing only 3 skaters from last year's team. So we'll see what the Pirates can do in this section. And of course, rounding out the section is Detroit Lakes, East Grand Forks, International Falls, and Thief River Falls. So we'll take a look at the players to watch in this section. The forward to watch is Blake Schultz out of East Grand Forks, an elite scoring forward who put up 30 goals as a freshman last year for the Green Wave. And if she plays well, keep an eye on East Grand Forks to potentially be a sleeper team in this section that, of course, has Warlord and Crookston as the 2 favorites. On defense, it is Katie Comstock of the Warlord Warriors. Really strong defensive defender who is going to be a key piece for Warlord. Again, lost a lot from last year's team, but Comstock looks to be certainly one of the top returners and was Class A All-State a season ago. And finally, in goal, it is Campbell Frahey of Crookston. In her first season of high school hockey last year, 10-6-2 record for the Pirates, 911 save percentage, and now a junior with a season under her belt of high school hockey. That could be what Crookston needs to get back to the state tournament for the first time since 2007. Well, that'll wrap up the section preview part of this show. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we will have the St. Cloud State Player Spotlight. Stick with us.
One new place, plus 2 of everything, plus 1 budget. Life math is complicated. Financial experts
Hi there.
make it easier. Affinity Plus. Getting a free streaming trial. Plus, forgetting to cancel it. Life math is complicated. Fewer overdraft fees make it easier. Learn more at affinityplus.org/betterthanfree.
Back into Inside the Bubble. It's time for our first SCSU Player Spotlight of the season, and we are taking a look at Holy Family sophomore forward Katya Sander. She is an all-around great student, teammate, and a very hard worker for Coach Randy Keppel and the Holy Family Fire. Let's take a look.
The best part about Katya as a player is she can play both. She can play forward, she can play D. We're still not exactly positive on where she'll end up here, but she's very, very good at both positions. And she's very creative, and she can shoot the puck, and she can skate. She's got the whole package, and she's heading in the right direction.
I really like the part of hockey where I get to come to hockey every day and see everyone. Like I don't get to like do that. Yes, I love summer hockey and seeing everyone, all my friends from different places, but like I feel the best thing about whole like high school hockey is really about like the people that you are able to compete with and make bonds with. Like my last year teammate Maddie Helmstetter, she was a senior and I was a freshman and she graduated, but I made such a great bond with her and I always ask her questions about what D1 hockey's like and like how she's adjusting, and I think that relationship has really helped me. And also the competitiveness of Minnesota girls hockey is really, really good, and the compete level is just amazing, and I love coming to practice every single day and looking forward to hopefully making it to the state championship, going to the section finals. It's just like the best part of hockey for me.
Where she's heading, I truly think the sky is the limit for her. I think wherever she wants to end up, she's going to end up. She's got that type of talent. She's got that type of drive. She's smart in school. You know, she's a 4.0 student, and she's got the drive off the ice and the talent to get herself there.
I used to be like literature, reading, history kind of girl, but I've kind of transitioned to mathematics and science. I've really found it really interesting, and math to me just like came to be like so like logical. Like it just makes sense, like what to do with the numbers, and I don't know. I'm really good at it. I have an A at the moment, and I've had an A for ever, I think. And science to me is just really interesting. Last year I took biology, and it was so cool to figure out like atoms and like how we came to be, and like just like the world and like life. It was really cool. And this year I'm taking chemistry, and it's really cool to see like how different things bond and how you can balance things, and I think it's very interesting. I really enjoy going to school and like learning. Yeah, definitely after high school I want to pursue a D1 college and hopefully commit to a D1 school for hockey. And also I really want to focus on my academics as well as hockey, because I feel like academics can get me really far. Yes, hockey can get me far, but I feel like academics is a lot more important. And I really hope, my dad is a doctor, so I really like the things that he tells me when he does his work, and I think that it's very cool that he gets to go to work every day and save people's lives. So I think I would want to go into something like sports medicine to like integrate hockey and how I'm an athlete, and also like helping people every single day. But also maybe something in the medical field like a doctor, or I don't know, anything to help people is what I would love to go into.
Time now to take a look at our top 5 upcoming games here on the MN Hockey TV network for this upcoming week. And all of these games happen to be on the weekend, starting on Friday, November 17th. It is South St. Paul at Hibbing Chisholm. Of course, the Blue Jackets are bringing back 4 of their top 5 leading scorers, trying to improve, and should be an improved bunch up north against a great team in South St. Paul. And then, Brandon, we've got another good one Friday. The start of 2 really tough games on the road for Moorhead, as they're at Andover. They are at Andover and then at Benilde St. Margaret's later this week.
Yeah, it's a big weekend, of course, for Moorhead, and then a big weekend for Andover there as well, albeit they're at home, but they'll get Minnetonka on Saturday. That's always, of course, a highly anticipated matchup. And then Holy Angels, they have a very difficult start to the season, hosting the defending state champions on Saturday. It's going to be a big tilt there at Richfield Ice Arena. And now it is time for the unveil of the KARE 11 Top 11 to begin the season. It always, of course, preseason rankings, always a great source of debate and fun. And this is what it's going to look like at the girls AA level. Starting off at number 1, we have the Minnetonka Skippers. They do lose quite a bit off the team last year, of course, with 5 Division I players, but they've supplemented that, and they have more than replaced that with underclassmen who are now Division I commits as well. Number 2 is the Andover Huskies. Of course, they're much promoted class of 2025 that is now starting to get college commitments in there as well. They're in at number 2. Hill Murray is up to number 3. They have the dynamic senior duo of Grace Zahn, Chloe Barine, and then underclassmen that are going to fill in for a very strong Pioneer team. We take it right here for the number 4 team, the Edina Hornets, that will all be strong once again. They have a couple of freshmen on the roster this year that certainly are very exciting to look at. And then Moorhead, number 5, they round out the top 5. Coach Ryan Kraft's team in the top 5 to start the year. You can see the rest of our top 11 here, but Matt, what sticks out to you about this opening list?
Yeah, this is a really talented top 11, so to speak, to start this year. And Minnetonka, of course, they are not the defending state champs. You see that Gentry Academy all the way down to 9. That seems like a big fall, but again, they do lose so much talent from last year's team that went to the state tournament and won it all. So, but again, you've got Stillwater at number 7, Josie St. Martin, of course, a big forward there. And really, this is going to shape up to be a very competitive AA. It's not like one team is significantly better than anybody else. So I think that's what makes for an exciting girls hockey season here at the AA level. All right, we go to Class A now for our preseason reveal of the Care 11 top 11. And starting it out at number 1, it is the Orono Spartans, who finished runner-ups last season. It is going to be, of course, a great season for the Orono Spartans, led by Zoe Lopez. Like you mentioned, Brandon Grace Bickett, another great player there for the Spartans. The South St. Paul Packers come in at number 2, Lily Pockel, among the many talented players there. They do lose Delaney Norman in goal. That's going to be a big fill for the Packers. But, of course, you have the Academy of Holy Angel Stars. We talked about them. Bella Lemire, another talented forward on that Stars team. Proctor Hermantown, Duluth Marshall, 4 and 5, a couple of teams out of Section 7 AA. Really, they seem like 1A and 1B. And then you've got Simley, Warroad, Crookston, Chisago Lakes, Dodge County, young team there, and Fergus Falls. But really, this is another good group of teams. What stands out to you about these preseason rankings?
Well, Matt, I feel much the same way you do about Class A, which is to say, I really feel like there's a compression of these teams, and that at least in the preseason, no one really is leaps and bounds above the rest. Maybe you could say that about Orono, but really beyond that, there's a really good group of teams. There's some loaded sections like Section 4 with Holy Angels, Chisago Lakes, South St. Paul. Section 1 even, Simley, or Dodge County, and then you throw Albert Lee, not on the initial top 11, but I know they're knocking on the door and will be a threat there as well. Really, though, the section I'm really most interested in single A is going to be that Warroad Crookston back and forth. Can East Grand Forks maybe be a spoiler, but that's going to be really interesting. I certainly wouldn't be surprised if Warroad is back in St. Paul come the end of the year, but it's a really good list to begin the season.
Let's take a look now at our Hockey Night in Minnesota game for next week. Of course, our free game on Care 11 Plus, and of course, we're excited to partner with the Rink Live for this upcoming season. Make sure to check them out for some pre- and post-game analysis for every Hockey Night in Minnesota game this season. And we, of course, will be the sponsor for their viewer guide of high school hockey as well. So we're very excited to partner with them. And our second girls matchup of the season, of course, we had Alexandria and North Wright County this past week. And we've got a dandy on Friday night. It is Simley and Warroad. Of course, the Spartans looking to be a top team in Class A and the defending Class A state champions. We don't get a lot of the Warroad Twin Cities teams all that often. So when we get it, Brandon, we've got to spotlight it.
Well, absolutely, and I think if I remember back to last season, we had a Simley game that we wanted to do that got snowed out. Mm-hmm. So we're making our trip out to Inver Grove Heights. The Spartans that we mentioned in our preview, I think, are going to be strong again this year, and this is a big weekend for Warroad as well.
Well, that'll wrap up our girls' season preview and episode number 1 of season 2 here on Inside the Bubble. We thank you so much for tuning in. For our entire crew, executive producer and behind the camera, Pete Wagner, I'm Matt Harrington, along with Brandon Spratt, saying so long from Braemar Arena.